are back with Shelf 14. Only 3 more to go.
Oh, yeah. And we are firmly in the action films here.
Oh, yeah. So we got Wanted. I actually really liked this movie. As I know a lot of people bagged on it.
Loom of Fate.
Yeah.
Which I shouldn't laugh, because the TV show The Librarians used the same thing. Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
They did it much better, though.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they actually work really well together, and it makes sense that they ended up married.
I guess.
Then we got The Last Dragon.
This is a blaxploitation kung fu movie, and it's really good. It's really good.
And we got Hard Target,
which is John Woo's first American movie. I had to import this from, I think, England. And then, like, 2 months later, it came out on Blu Ray here. Good movie, though.
We got The Order and Nowhere to Run. Yeah. John Van Damme movies.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I knew I was missing something.
Yeah. The Order is actually a different movie than the Heath Ledger movie. So, yeah. Heath Ledger's is more supernatural than
action.
Yeah. And then we have a Jean-Claude Van Damme 3-pack with Cyborg, Death Warrant, and Double Impact. I actually like Death Warrant. Cyborg's not bad. It's a kind of a post-apocalyptic movie. Double Impact, he plays 2 different roles, so it's a little weird. Since the difference is that he just slicks back his hair. Bloodsport, the movie that made him a star, and Time Cop, which I really enjoyed. Time Cop. He had a great mullet in that movie.
It was the 80s.
Yeah. Actually, that one might be early 90s. Early 90s, but still nice. Anyway, Steven Seagal section, we have Out for Justice. Hard to Kill. Marked for Death.
I really liked his part in Machete.
Yeah. Above the Law. And the movie that was probably the pinnacle of his career, Under Siege. It kind of went... it didn't kind of go downhill. It went downhill fast after that. But Under Siege and the 4 before it are great movies. Pretty violent, too. Unstoppable. Denzel Washington, Chris Pine. Train movie. Don't ever watch this with somebody who's ever worked on a train, though, because they hate this movie.
Yeah, they pick it apart.
Yeah. But it's a good movie. I enjoyed it.
The Equalizer.
Which I enjoyed.
Yeah, it was really good.
It does take a few minutes to get going, but it's pretty good.
Hello, Bentley.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. Cameo by the cat, who is now sniffing me. Out of here.
We got Two Guns.
Which is supposed to be a buddy action movie. It was okay, I guess. Not great.
And we got Man of Fire.
Yeah. Man.
The first half of it was kind of slow, and then when it picked up, man, did it pick up.
Yeah. And it's Man on Fire, not Man of Fire.
Yeah. Man on Fire. Sorry.
I love Christopher Walken's last line in that movie. He's like, and that's all I have to say about that. And then that's it. That he's no longer in the movie. Taken One, which is a great movie.
Yes,
and
it's a great movie.
It was really funny. That movie sat on the shelf for like 2 years before they decided to release it. And that's why they released it in January, because they thought it was going to be crap.
And everybody loved it.
Oh, yeah.
And we got Taken 2.
Definitely not as good as the first one, but okay.
I Shall Find You.
Actually, that was the first.
Taken 3.
Which was definitely the weakest of all of them. The actions, I mean, there was action, but it just didn't have the intensity. Yeah.
We got Run All Night.
Which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard really good things about. I mean, it's got Liam Neeson and Ed Harris in it. Well, how can it go wrong?
So, apparently we're in the Liam Neeson section.
Well, yeah.
Non-stop.
Which people have said is Taken on a Plane, but it's not. It is an action movie, but it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The A-Team.
Which I actually enjoyed. Most people hate it.
a lot of fun.
But I enjoyed it. I don't know what they were expecting. It was a cheesy 80s action show anyway, and this turned out to be a cheesy action movie.
The Dark Man.
Which is Liam Neeson and directed by Sam Raimi. In fact, he wanted Bruce Campbell for the main role, and the studio wouldn't let him have him. But Bruce Campbell does make a cameo in this movie at the end. So, double pack of Chuck Norris Missing in Action 1 and 2. I believe those are both Cannon movies, and if anybody remembers Cannon films, yeah. Actually, those are all the Chuck Norris movies I own, or we own.
Surprising.
Yep.
Okay. Jason Statham.
And The Transporter. Transporter 2.
My favorite of the three is Transporter 3.
Yeah.
I've heard they've made another Transporter movie, but they're moving away from Jason Statham.
Yeah, it's called Transporter Refueled. It didn't do well over the summer. I've seen the TV show. It's not too bad. But I'm not going to even bother with the new movie.
More Jason Statham. We've got War, and it's got Jet Li in it.
That's a great movie.
That's a really good one.
Good action. Good truck chases. And if you're a car guy, there's a part in it that'll make you cry.
And we have Safe.
Actually, surprisingly, a lot better than it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've got The Mechanic.
It was okay. It wasn't great.
Homefront.
I actually haven't watched that one yet, which is sad because I've heard it's really good. And James Franco's supposed to be insane in that movie. Oh my god, is that a movie with Winona Ryder on the title?
Yes.
Wow, I haven't seen that since we saw Edward Scissorhands. Anyway, moving on.
Crank.
Which is batshit crazy.
Followed up by the second Batshit Crazy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That I had a lot of fun with both of those.
Yeah, I wish they'd make the third, but probably won't.
We got Parker.
Which is really surprisingly good. Jennifer Lopez does a really good job in that movie, and so does he. It's not really an action movie. It's more of a heist movie, and it's really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
And we have Killer Elite.
Which is really good also, and also based on a true story. It's got Clive Owen in it and Robert De Niro. Set in the 80s, explains why Clive Owen's got that nice porno stash.
Okay, I think that's the last of the Jason Statham.
Oops.
Let me flip it around here.
Yeah, we have the complete Indiana Jones adventures. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It comes in a book. 5-disc. So, but yeah, it's Indiana Jones. If you don't know Indiana Jones, sad.
Okay. And then we got The Mummy.
Most people would put this in the horror movie section because it's The Mummy, but it's more of an action adventure than it is a horror movie.
Yeah.
Definitely like the first one over the second one.
It's because you don't like the kid. I actually like the second one.
I'm sorry, that movie suffered from annoying kid syndrome. Why do they have to write kids like assholes? Are all kids assholes? What do you think? Bentley, what do you think? He don't care, he's trying to take a nap.
Green Zone.
Green Zone. This is funny. Matt Damon didn't want to do another Bourne movie, but then he decided to do a movie that totally is basically, by the same writer and director of the Bourne movies. So,
And speaking of,
yeah. Bourne Identity. These are good. The whole Bourne movies are all really good, except for one thing that I hate. Shaky cam during action scenes. It's hard to follow.
Bourne Supremacy.
Yep.
And the Bourne Ultimatum. I like that the way that they, on part of it, they jump back and forth to let you know timeline.
Yeah.
This is happening during this particular part.
He's actually making another one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we have Bourne.
Bourne Legacy. It's got Jeremy Renner.
Yeah. Not a bad movie. Rachel Weisz is pretty good in it.
I like the way they connect it with the actual Bourne movies.
Well, they're going to continue making the Bourne Legacy movies, and Matt Damon's making another
Like Jason Bourne one?
Jason Bourne movie.
This could be interesting.
But they're not going to try to connect the two.
They are two separate stories.
Yeah, from what I've heard.
We got Casino Royale with Daniel Craig.
Yep. Whom I might say is probably the best Bond. Because they went definitely in a more serious role with Bond. Quantum of Solace, which is good, but not as good as Casino Royale.
Mm-hmm.
And my personal favorite so far, I haven't seen Spectre, Skyfall. Skyfall is awesome.
Skyfall is awesome, and I like that they take into account that he is older.
Yeah.
That he's not just the young man all the time.
And then here's Pierce Brosnan making what is basically a Bond movie without actually having the name Bond. But it's really fun.
We got Clean Skin.
Which is a Sean Bean spy movie. I haven't watched it yet. That's why it's still wrapped up.
Yeah, we haven't watched it yet, but picked it up just because of Sean Bean.
Mm-hmm.
We got Safe House.
Safe House.
Surprisingly, a really good movie.
Yeah. Denzel Washington, kind of a bad guy in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But
And Ryan Reynolds actually stepped up to the plate for decent action. He didn't have to rely on his comedy things.
yeah, which is good.
We got Number Station.
Which is enjoyable. I actually enjoyed it. It's not really an action movie. It's kind of a mystery thriller type movie, but it's good. Really good.
Then we have Black Rain.
Mm-hmm. New York police in Japan. Good movie.
Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit.
I haven't watched it.
I've been meaning to get to it.
Yeah. Isn't Jack Ryan like Hunt for Red October and Clear and Present Danger? All those are the same guy?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know him.
Sorry. Big Bang.
This is a new noir. I guess it was
Is it neo-noir?
Yeah, neo-noir detective story. It's pretty interesting. And Sam Elliott's role is he's kind of batshit in that movie. Long-haired, rich hippie kind of character.
Mm. Give him Home Alone.
Yeah, this is also another neo-noir movie. It was a lot of fun. Thomas Jane is a detective. That's good.
And then Sherlock Holmes.
I like this one. Robert Downey Jr. does a good job of the quirky Sherlock Holmes.
Batshit insane sometimes.
Well, I think that's pretty much Robert Downey Jr.
And then the second one, Game of Shadows.
Not as big as fan as this one.
No, didn't really like that one.
It was okay, but it wasn't great. And then Road Racers. I actually haven't watched it. So.
Me either. And then Machete.
Machete.
Love Machete.
I do too. It's so crazy. And born out of a fake trailer off of the Grindhouse movies. And they actually used the footage in there. You can totally tell.
Good. We got the second one, Machete Kills.
Which is just insane. It's not as good as the first one, but still fun. But it's just crazy.
I'm waiting for the third one.
If they make it.
That should be weird.
Machete Kills again. In space. All movie series go to space. And then the Lethal Weapon 4-pack. What's funny about it is there's two different versions of this. There's this, which has the 4-disc movies, and then there's like a big collector set. There's nothing different between the two. So I paid $15 for the 4 Lethal Weapon movies, which decline in quality because they decided to ramp up the comedy with... First they had Joe Pesci, who was tolerable in the second one, gets worse in the third, and then decided, hey, we need more comedy, and added Chris Rock.
Mm.
Which, whenever you decide to add Chris Rock, that's a terrible decision.
Mm.
So, that is it for...
That is it for the 14th?
14th shelf. Again, we'll be back with shelf 15.